The first time I saw my boss outside the office, I thought it was a coincidence. The next morning, when she quietly looked into my eyes and asked, "Do you remember what happened after we left the bar?" my heart nearly stopped. Every memory from the previous night had disappeared behind a wall of exhaustion and confusion. I wasn't afraid because I had done something wrong. I was terrified because I couldn't remember whether I had helped someone, or destroyed everything I had spent years building. That single question became the beginning of the most unexpected chapter of my life, one that taught me that sometimes the people who seem strongest are carrying the heaviest burdens, and sometimes one ordinary act of kindness can change two broken lives forever. Before we begin this emotional journey, take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes in kindness and second chances, and subscribe to Storyverse for more heartfelt stories that remind us hope can appear when we least expect it. My name is Nolan Mercer, and at 32, my life had become painfully predictable. Every weekday started before sunrise with a rushed breakfast, a crowded train ride, endless meetings, and late evenings spent staring at spreadsheets until my eyes blurred. I worked as a financial analyst at a growing technology company where performance mattered more than personalities. At the top of our department stood my boss, Serena Whitlock, a woman known throughout the company for impossible standards, sharp decisions, and an expression that rarely revealed emotion. Employees respected her, but most feared disappointing her. She never yelled, never humiliated anyone, and never wasted words. Her silence alone was enough to make people nervous. I had worked under Serena for almost 4 years. During that time I learned everything about her professional habits but absolutely nothing about her personal life. She always arrived before everyone else and usually left after sunset. She skipped office celebrations, never joined team lunches, and politely declined every invitation to social gatherings. Rumors spread constantly. Some believed she was incredibly wealthy. Others thought she had no family. A few insisted she had experienced something tragic years ago. Nobody knew the truth because she never allowed work conversations to become personal. Unlike many of my co-workers, I never judged her. I admired discipline because my own childhood had taught me the value of stability. After losing both parents before finishing college, I had spent years juggling part-time jobs while studying at night. I knew what it meant to survive by focusing only on the next responsibility. Perhaps that was why I understood Serena better than most people did, even without knowing her story. It had been an exhausting Thursday when everything changed. Our department had completed the largest project in company history, and for the first time in months everyone left the office before dark. Instead of heading home immediately, I wandered through downtown, enjoying the unfamiliar feeling of having free time. Bright city lights reflected against glass buildings while laughter drifted from restaurants lining the streets. Without thinking too much, I stepped into a quiet neighborhood bar where live piano music replaced the usual noise of crowded clubs. The atmosphere felt peaceful. A few couples sat near the windows, friends celebrated birthdays in one corner, and the bartender greeted everyone with genuine warmth. I ordered a simple meal and a single drink, planning to relax for half an hour before catching the train home. As I looked across the room, I nearly dropped my glass. Serena Whitlock sat alone near the far window. She wasn't dressed in her usual business suits. Instead, she wore a simple blue sweater beneath a light jacket, her hair loosely tied back, looking like an ordinary woman instead of the intimidating executive everyone knew. For the first time, she appeared tired. I considered leaving to avoid an awkward encounter, but before I stood, our eyes met. She offered a small nod, surprising me. It wasn't the formal acknowledgement of an employer recognizing an employee. It felt almost human. A few minutes later she walked over and asked if the seat across from me was available. I nodded, still unsure how to behave outside the office. What followed was nothing like I expected. Instead of discussing work, deadlines, or quarterly reports, she spoke about the piano music filling the room. She admitted she came to that place once every year because it reminded her of happier days. Her voice sounded softer than I had ever heard before. We talked about books, favorite cities, childhood dreams, and the strange ways adulthood changes people. She laughed once, quietly, and I realized I had never seen her smile inside the office. The hours disappeared faster than either of us noticed. Then her phone rang. The color slowly faded from her face. She listened silently before thanking the caller and ending the conversation. Although she tried to remain composed, I could see something inside her had shattered. She whispered that her younger brother had been admitted to the hospital after collapsing unexpectedly. He was her only remaining family. Without hesitation she stood to leave, but the moment she took a step, she nearly lost her balance. She hadn't eaten enough after an already exhausting week. Instinctively I supported her before she fell. The rain outside had become heavy, making taxis difficult to find. Together we finally managed to get one heading toward the hospital. During the ride she grew unusually quiet, staring through rain-covered windows while holding her phone with trembling hands. Everything after that became blurred by exhaustion. I remembered arriving at the emergency entrance. I remembered helping her inside. I remembered sitting beside her while doctors examined her brother. After that, nothing. When I woke Friday morning, I was lying on my own couch wearing yesterday's clothes. My phone battery had died. My head ached from lack of sleep rather than alcohol. Somehow I had returned home, but I had absolutely no memory of leaving the hospital. Walking into work that morning felt like entering a courtroom. Every ordinary sound seemed louder than usual. Around 10 o'clock my office phone rang. Serena asked me to come to her office. She looked exactly as everyone expected again. Professional. Calm. Perfectly composed. After I sat down, she looked at me for several seconds before asking quietly, "Do you remember what happened after we left?" Panic rushed through my mind. I admitted honestly that I couldn't. She studied my face carefully before smiling with quiet relief. She thanked me. That confused me even more. She explained that after doctors stabilized her brother, exhaustion finally overwhelmed her. She had fainted in the waiting room. According to hospital staff, I stayed beside both siblings until sunrise. I contacted her brother's insurance provider, arranged emergency paperwork, called family friends whose numbers were stored in her phone, purchased breakfast for everyone, and refused to leave until she regained consciousness. Apparently I had spent the entire night helping complete strangers without expecting anything in return. She said she had never experienced that kind of kindness before. Embarrassed, I admitted I didn't remember most of it. She smiled again, this time with genuine warmth. She said perhaps kindness mattered even more when people didn't keep score. That conversation quietly changed everything between us. Nothing inappropriate happened. No secret romance suddenly appeared. Instead, something much rarer developed. Trust. Over the following week Serena slowly became more approachable at work. She still maintained professional standards, but employees noticed subtle differences. She asked about people's families. She encouraged vacations instead of rewarding endless overtime. Meetings became conversations rather than interrogations. Productivity actually improved because fear slowly disappeared from the office. One afternoon she invited me to lunch, not as a boss evaluating an employee but as one person thanking another. During that meal she finally shared the story hidden behind years of emotional distance. She had lost her parents in a highway accident while still in graduate school. Suddenly responsible for raising her 12-year-old brother, she abandoned nearly every personal dream to provide stability for him. Every promotion she earned came with sacrifices. Every long workday paid school tuition, medical bills, rent, and eventually university expenses. Somewhere along the journey she convinced herself that emotions made people weaker. Until that night. She admitted seeing someone stay beside her without expecting recognition had challenged everything she believed. Her brother, Elias, recovered completely after successful treatment. A month later he insisted on meeting the stranger who had refused to leave his hospital room. We met at a small daytime cafe surrounded by blooming flowers. Elias laughed easily despite everything he had experienced. He thanked me repeatedly before admitting Serena had spent years carrying responsibilities alone because she believed asking for help would burden others. Listening to him, I realized even the strongest people often become prisoners of their own independence. Life moved forward. Months passed. The office culture transformed completely. Employees began mentoring interns. Volunteer programs started. Instead of competing against one another, departments collaborated more openly. The positive changes spread beyond profits. One December afternoon Serena announced the company would sponsor scholarships for students who had lost parents or guardians, inspired by stories neither of us had publicly shared. Watching dozens of young people receive opportunities reminded me how one quiet evening at a neighborhood bar had unexpectedly created something far bigger than either of us imagined. Outside work our friendship continued naturally. We visited community events, supported local charities, and occasionally met for coffee on weekends. People often assumed there was romance between us. There wasn't. At least not then. The deeper connection came from mutual respect. Neither of us tried to rescue the other. Instead, we reminded each other that carrying pain alone was never the only option. Nearly a year after that unforgettable night, Serena invited our entire department to a company picnic held in a beautiful lakeside park during a bright spring afternoon. As everyone laughed, played games, and shared food beneath clear blue skies, several longtime employees quietly admitted they had almost resigned before the culture changed. Now they couldn't imagine working anywhere else. Hearing those words filled Serena's eyes with tears she no longer tried to hide. She later confessed that success had once meant reaching the top regardless of loneliness. Now success meant creating an environment where people actually wanted to grow together. That realization became worth more than every promotion she had ever received. One evening, after volunteering at another scholarship event, Serena and I walked through a peaceful city park as the sun slowly disappeared beyond the skyline. She finally asked the question that had remained unanswered for nearly a year. She wondered why I had stayed with her that entire night despite barely knowing her outside work. I thought carefully before answering. I told her that when my parents passed away years earlier, a complete stranger had remained beside me through the longest night of my life. I never learned his name. He simply stayed until relatives arrived, then quietly disappeared forever. His kindness had carried me through unimaginable grief. Perhaps that hospital night had simply been my opportunity to pass the same kindness forward. Serena stood silently for several moments before whispering that hope sometimes survives because ordinary people choose not to walk away. If this story has touched your heart so far, please leave a comment telling us where you're watching from and share one act of kindness that changed your life. Your story may inspire someone who needs hope today. 2 years later the Scholarship Foundation had helped hundreds of students begin new lives. Employees proudly volunteered every month. Our company became known not only for business success but for compassion. As for Serena and me, friendship slowly grew into something neither of us forced nor expected. It happened quietly through shared purpose, honest conversations, and countless moments where respect became affection. One warm afternoon surrounded by family, friends, scholarship recipients, and grateful coworkers, we promised to continue building a life centered not on ambition alone but on kindness. Sometimes people ask us how our story began. They expect a dramatic romance. Instead, we simply smile. It began with an ordinary daytime after an unforgettable night, a forgotten memory, a question asked inside an office, and one simple decision to stay beside another human being when life became overwhelming. Special request: before this story ends, please comment, "Kindness always comes back," if you believe even one small act of compassion can change someone's entire life. As I look back now, I realize I never recovered the missing memories from those final hours at the hospital. Maybe I never will. But I no longer need them. The outcome tells the story better than memory ever could. A frightened sister found hope. A recovering brother found family beyond blood. A lonely employee discovered purpose beyond promotion. A company rediscovered its humanity. And two people carrying invisible scars found the courage to trust again. If this story warmed your heart, please like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to Storyverse. Your support allows more heartfelt stories of hope, forgiveness, and second chances to reach people who may need them the most. Sometimes the smallest click can help spread the biggest message, that kindness is never wasted, and every compassionate choice creates a future we cannot yet imagine.